Amazing, you have Crimzo. It's different at this point. The one thing that remains the same is a lot of the strategy that they bring in. They were kind of forcing the Dino. They're trying to get Dongmin to do his thing, who has played well. I want to see some fixed changes from them.
I agree. I mean, you talked about it already, Cozy. Can we get Rymazing out of the triple strat merchant jail, please? Like, we know what Rymazing is capable of, and we just need to see it out in display. Are we going to keep seeing Sentinels rely on the triple strategist lineup that they usually like to lean on for comfortability? That's the question, right? Especially when you have a player like Yusher who could pull out the Phoenix that we've seen so strong so far with those buffs that we've had going into Season 8, Cozy.
No, for sure. And you guys know the lineup by now. Again, Vision being on the bench is somebody that is I would say one of the top mechanical players in this game. And so we'll see Yusha doing a good job at that role. And Rymazing plays a different role. So it's going to be interesting if they ever do slot that in, even for a change-up if needed. But best of three, kind of tough to do that, Shib. We'll get more on this roster in a moment. Let's go and take a look at Team 2N, what they're going up against, right? We got Nightmare on the other side of them. And listen, Nightmare, they changed up. They lost that bench player in Vision, and that's not just a minor downgrade. It's a tough one. SJW, though, has definitely stepped up, I would say, really well. We saw that yesterday, but we continue to say this. The teams that are struggling is the 1B duelists, the Daredevils that dive, getting that pressure coordinated with the Vanguards. That's their problem at the moment.
Yeah, and then you also have Fidel too coming in, right? Both from SSG, and you know, there's a ton of challenges with getting new players. It changes up the communication structure. It changes up maybe how you want to lead comms, whether it's fight planning, alt tracking, stuff like that. All comes into the works, and I would say that gives an advantage to Sen, who have been together for a very long time. Obviously, with one recent change, but outside of that, staying very consistent. Nightmare, though, they just need to find their footing. They're a strong team, but it seems like they're constantly playing from behind, or they're finding themselves in difficult positions, and they're just trying to ego their way through it. I know this team has the talent. I'm looking forward to seeing what they look like as they move through the tournament.
They got to get the monkey off their back. I know that's one of the bigger things, right? It's a mental almost at this point.
Yeah.
Taking a look at this matchup, I would say the Vanguard one is the one I want to highlight, because you've got what I saw was a lot of either Captain America play if you're Impunity versus Crimzo. And then there wasn't the follow-up with it all the time. And then you have more of this stationary tank. They actually both play very similar in the way that these tanks are going to duo together. Mace obviously was much more of a Magneto player. Does have Emma in the pocket, but then teams try to ban that, and we did see struggle there. My biggest thing is Sentinel's going to let Gambit through the pick ban phase, kind of show that quote-unquote disrespect and say, hey, go ahead and play Gambit. We still think we can beat you. And if they do, they have to be able to win with that lineup. Someone like Rogue, and they can pair that in. Dongmin, though, more of the Devil Dinosaur. Tried it twice. We'll see if they continue to go that route, or if Crimzo and team were able to cook something else up. Again, you kind of say it. We say it all the time, Vicky. It's like talent. They've got it. They just got to put the pieces together. A lot of these teams working with that new roster.
Right, and this is day number 3 for week 1, and it is best of 3, and we know how difficult it is in a best of 3 with little room of error, and then starting off your first game on domination. We already saw what happened when Sentinels last played day number 1 against Swamp Gaming, where both maps, you know, was pretty tight, honestly. Celestial Husky went over to round 3, Museum of Contemplation, where Sentinels wanted to see where they could lean into. Also, you know, didn't really get to achieve that end goal. So now looking at least having that day between of what they needed to fix, it kind of goes back to what you were saying, Cozy. It starts in this pick and ban phase, and things need to change up here, right? If you're gonna have to maybe rely on Invis being that safety pick, why, right? Why won't you lean into your strength instead and try to actually see what you could do differently here, especially if you don't have to run out with the triple strategist? Yeah,
that's a great point, because we have, what, about 40 seconds of game time and pick and bans. And listen, Shib, these teams both had one thing in common. As we just said, it was the pick ban phase. It was what we saw, just kind of unconventional picks. As you know, Vicky just said, the Invis, someone we don't see saved a lot right now, but that's because they want to go with the triple strat. So if they can abandon that, or at least have a flexible out, then they don't have to worry about that and waste the save there. But then on the other side, it's like, okay, you have the Gambit, which then forces a Loki ban, and then kind of it just ends up kind of tripping over itself.
Yeah, you kind of find yourself just, oh, we let Gambit through. What do we do to make sure that comp isn't just an absolute raid comp? Like, that just walks right through us. So you get rid of the Loki to try to save yourselves. Maybe it's the Star-Lord for the combination. You just don't want to find yourself just, you know, thinking back to, oh, how do we fix our mistake off the rip? I think you just got to get rid of that Gambit. And then maybe we change up a strategy here and we don't run that triple backline, which they, you know, sometimes struggle with.
No, for sure. And we find ourselves the first map. It's the Vicky special at this point. Celestial Husk is going to be where we take it. And out of the 3, you know, we don't see a lot of Wakanda. I think Celestial Husk always is finding its way into rotation one way or another. But yeah, you know, a lot of great points made here. I do think that both these teams showing more flexibility is something I want to see, and just nailing down more of those comms and that ult tracking, this thing's ready. I think Nightmare, what they're going to bring to the table is continue the strategist ban. That's what they like to do. It's what they're comfortable with. So we can expect that, and that might actually be decent against a team here like the Sentinels. Maybe they start with an invis if they want to go that path, Vicky.
Maybe, if that's how they're gonna try to play into what they feel is more comfortable, but obviously maybe trying something different against a team like Nightmare. You mentioned it, Cozy, and it's about finding where the teams that are in the middle of the pack really get to lean into with the Season 8 changes, right? Especially since we're seeing the inclusion more of Devil Dinosaur.
Absolutely. So as we find where they're going with it, again, both these teams more or less weren't going too much of that Gambit ban route. Definitely Nightmare tried to do the best they can there. And this is the get right game, as we've continued to say down below. We get to see it, and right off the bat, Gambit bans both of them. Lessons learned, homework done, Shib, as they go into the Dino Protects.
Yeah, immediately seeing the protect from Dino. Honestly, I like this so far. This is what we were hoping to see from both teams. They both have a lot of flexibility in the rosters, both of which can run the more divey stuff, although we haven't seen a ton of that from Sentinels. But yeah, I think Dino can fit into a bunch of different compositions. You can build completely around him or just kind of let him do his thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing what both teams try to do here.
Yeah, Vicky, they're going to go with the Phoenix ban early instead of someone like Luna, which allowed them to ban and then save Luna. I think that's actually huge for them, shutting down Crimzo. What do you think the last save is? Well,
it's going to be the Phoenix. Yeah, I was going to say, you always have to get ahead of you out here, but it's going to be the Phoenix save. And that's actually something that you were talking about, Cozy, in the green room, about what that unorthodox save or that last ban is going to be looking like, whether it be the Phoenix, maybe the Black Cat too, something that we've also seen a lot of teams that are very good at running the dive composition really roll out with, which is obviously something that Sentinels, not really having to think about. But they also show the respect from the other side with the Captain America ban that we saw from Impunity just yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Shib, they have both the Cap players, really, obviously Pauly, but you have Impunity and Crimzo, both not having access. But the big difference is Phoenix, what got rid of the dinosaurs? There's like a meteor fire. Yeah, hey, that is a great way to get more things igniting off of Devil Dino, so I expect that to be kind of a safety pick for them. Which, again, we know how well these duelists can play, but I need to see what Light can do alongside this Phoenix that they're saving.
For sure. I also really like the Luna lock-in there over from Sen. I think Luna's been really strong in the meta. We've seen a lot of locks of Luna in Ignite so far in stage 1. Maybe something that I wouldn't have expected as much. Obviously, I know how strong she can truly be. Just a very large skill ceiling. Obviously, hit scan, a ton of damage, actually more than Hella. Outside of Phoenix, one of the best hit scan to play if you want to play even more aggressive in a triple comp. It totally works that way. Just so much in that kit to be aggro. So liking that as well. But oh man, I'm back and I'm ready. I'm stoked for this first matchup.
All right, y'all, we'll take it away. We have Sentinels, Nightmare. Both teams cannot afford another loss. Buckle in. We've got a great day 3 for you. Vicky, Shib, take it away.
All right, my friend, here we go, Vicky. Stoked to be casting alongside you. Dino gonna be showing up, and I'm sure we'll see something alongside of that. Strange being in play, potentially from both sides. We begin our first match of the day.
Welcome back, my friend. It's been great action, and we are already starting things off with a portal play to prioritize our positioning onto the other side of the point. Look at Crimson rolling out on the Venom to match that with Impunity, already trying to be a thorn on the side. That Phoenix literally one shot as SJW does get healed up back to full health, but it's a neutral fight for that high ground.
Yeah, I like this map a ton for the side of Venom when you can just dance around that middle segment, pulling out that E early on, some cooldowns as Oasis is able to find one on a Mace. That's going to be a start, but immediately the BRB, from Pain brings Mace back, numbers evened out as we continue this first fight.
I mean, he was going to be right back, real quick here, and it looks like with Sentinel still relying on that triple strategist, with Oasis being able to get that first pick that we saw just a little bit ago. Mace taking a lot of that damage with Rymazing taking to the skies, and as you mentioned, Chip, Venom really good in trying to take control over that middle console, but you know what? That vertical height, too, from Rymazing, as he is going to opt for that Ultron.
And here we go again as Usher finds one onto Fidel. Goodbye, SJW. A 2-piece. Make it 3 here, Usher. Seeing that extended mag, that extra 10 bullets is more than enough to clean up. Now we're going to spin to win with that Blaster Barrage over backline. Buying more time and space, but pays for it as Light finds one right back, and this will give Nightmare a chance to head back towards that point.
One-on-one, as we saw Light make some quick adjustments. The Star-Lord starting off a lot earlier than what we had seen from Nightmare when they had started off on Celestial as just yesterday. Gotta be careful with the back cap, though, as the Galactic Legend comes in to immediately mark down Rymazing. Big first pick off here. Flame's gonna be the next one to go. That's gonna be another big one. Beautiful follow-up and communication from Nightmare as Impunity is able to follow that up to prevent the ultimates from the strategist from flowing from Sentinels.
Yeah, 47 and climbing still here for Sentinels. Out goes the Feast now to stall for a bit longer, and that's the goal of the Venom. And that'll be enough. The portal comes through, but it's not quick enough here from the side of Amazing, and instead they will lose that point as Nightmare gets some percentage going. Look at the ults across the board here, folks. 5 available for Nightmare, and here goes that commitment. Matching right back from the Galactic Legend. Immediately going to see that boundary, and out again goes the Devil Beast Rampage to try to keep them on and get this moving. More commitments with the Sia from Pain. SJW coming down with a combo, bang! And that one's not able to find one, but it's cleaned up from Impunity on a Flamme, and that was a ton of commitment from Nightmare.
And from the Wombo combo, the extra damage done together with the end song Inferno, Impunity following up the BRB, having a lot of impact to bring back Vidal, but with the It's Jeff from Oasis, it's a big buffet, all you could eat, as Oasis finds the Invis and the Devil Dino. Talk about quite an appetite, but he's got to kind of scurry away and still isolate 2 of those members from Nightmare. And if you look at SJW too, it was literally one shot, unfortunately isolating Fidel from being able to help SJW out.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the plan was there. You can't off-map either of them with the jump and with the immovability, but after that, a huge eye comes in. Goodbye. As Flamme and Crimzo clean up 2. The rest comes back from Mace, though the Dinosaur still on the battlefield now. Cannot be dropped as now Impunity finds Flamme, and that is still going to be a back and forth. Looking upwards now, Light takes out Oasis, and Nightmare still holding on to this point.
Wow.
Just textbook.
Light getting the quad though, the quick little 4K. Light waking up, has been grinding out that rank and is ready to showcase what he's got with the rest of Nightmare. They're nearing 80% now, Shib. And if you look on the side of Sentinels, Crimzo is nearing the Feast of the Abyss from the other side, but it's going to be a bit of a delay for them to recontest.
And you can notice the space being taken after capping point here, folks. Take this into ladder with yourselves. You move forward, try to get them to use cooldowns before they even get towards the point, so you have an advantage if you need to drop backwards. You can see them making that move backwards now. And a little more on their heels. 97% in climbing here. There goes that commitment as they get the touch. But so much was burned there from Crimzo to hold on. And everybody's focused in that direction. More damage comes out from SJW, who does have that End Song Inferno available. Feast of the Abyss is available here for Crimzo. And Yusher can match back as Dongmin and Crimzo find 2. Not having to commit too much. Feast goes out, and that will be a retake here now from Sentinels.
Perfect case scenario for Sentinels too, Shit, because now you look at the ult economy that's coming in and the stall potential for Sentinels. Yes, SAW and Pain could make a big move happen here with the Sia. You combine that and the damage output from Mason having that Rampage, it could be deadly, but it's all eyes on how Flamme gets to stay alive as well as Yusher together with the Galactic Legend.
You can see space being owned again. Similar conversation as before. The composition has shifted. We now have the Ultron up, and Yusher going to commit heavy now with the Galactic Legend looking for Mace, and does find that pick. Is the BRB available? It might just be. Yes, it is. Numbers evened out, and that's a fine trade in this moment as Yusher's trying to find a second pick. They're all stacked on the high ground, and it will be close to a 99-99 situation. Oasis looking for a need here. Could be massive. The Sia available. The combination with that End Song for Nightmare once more is on the table. SJW prepping for that right now, and there's that Sia. Will the bird land? Yes, it does. Bang. And it does find a flame on the back line, and now Nightmare are going to be up a number, but down in ultimates as Amazing tries to get one with the Rage.
And that was with the Luna that had the fate of both worlds. Crimzo follows up to find Fidel though to even that out, as you mentioned, and Light is about to have the Galactic Legend, but with nobody on the point. It looked like the Venom was right there on the outskirts, but it's all for Nightmare to take that first round. It was quite unfortunate too, Shib, because it looked like 2 members of Sentinel were just a pixel away from getting onto the point.
Yeah, and we can see here, folks, as we start up, I believe Sen locked in there the last moment. You can see the feed here. 6 finals from Yusher so far up at the top, matching Light. Very similar scores. Light has not gone down a single time, playing a little more passively, but building that ult quickly. Flame and Oasis with ults available should be a huge start here for Sentinels as they keep this moving forward.
Looking at the stats here alone, the fact that Light has not gone down a single time, Shib. Crazy. And I said from the other side, looking at the colors that were flipped, Sentinels taking that first round and now going into the second round here, Shib. Then you have Flamme that still has that ultimate after Flamme got targeted with the combo of the Sia and the End Song Infernal. So at least they'll have the advantage going into the second round to maintain that.
Yeah, this is a dicey position here for Nightmare, down in all charge. And remember, folks, you want to get this point early in domination. Setting up right now once again, Crimzo on the Venom. I think Venom is a very strong stay alongside Captain America in this current meta with that dive potential. And it's really enabled by that Jeff from Oasis. You can play very aggro with your dive to commit together. Bang! Crimzo goes down on the back line looking at the Fox, who just narrowly escapes, but pulling out that teleport cooldown is a big one to call out. Impunity, Feast of the Abyss on the back line once again. You hear more as the dance floor gets launched. Crimzo just consistently on that back line, but the peel comes out from Mace. Dance floor going to keep everyone healthy, and nobody's gone down just yet.
Wait a minute. Ooh, Crimzo said, don't worry, I'll hold that real quick, with Mace being the first casualty. Impunity may follow, though. It's going to be the reset as well as a piece of the Abyss on the extra damage together after Oasis had used the Itch Jeff before. Impunity has been one-shot for so long, and that's going to be Light going down for the first time after staying alive for so long. And we were taking a look at that scoreboard already, Shib, with Right Mazing, who had made that swap from the very beginning of the second round into the Black Hat. I like the different plans that already Sentinels is rolling out with it. Usher popping off.
Yeah, Usher finding one. Again, percentage in Sen's favor, looking to take this first map quickly. Flame able to find one once more onto Nightmare. And again, folks, just the raw damage potential from Luna right now, as you see Usher trying to get that pick onto Light, who's made the switch away from the Star-Lord and is now on that Daredevil. Be very aggressive onto that backline, trying to find Flame. You're looking for that Luna, who doesn't have a ton of answers in terms of cooldowns to keep yourself healthy when there's dive. It's really only going to be that snowball without the Fox on the field. Crimzo holding this height, and bang, right on the back line. He goes once more. Commitment goes out from the Cat of Rymazing, but they can't get that pick through.
And now letting the devil out from Light as Dogman is trying to back away, still getting it back up to health. Thanks to Oasis being right there too to help pressure them out, together with Usher, who's just been this silent assassin in the back. SJW does shut down Rymazing, but guess what? SJW looks behind him, and guess what? And Usher has had his way with the rest of the team, followed up by Dogman. A great performance right now from Sentinels.
Yeah, and this is something we were talking about early on that I really do, I'm happy to see it from the Sentinel side at least, where they're committing with that dive. Crimzo's engaging, and then you have Rymazing, who's not on that triple strat. Instead, is going to be on Black Cat and just hard commit together, enabled by the Jeff dive, and it is too much to handle here at the current moment. 90% almost in climbing. Mace able to find one with ultimate committed as Rymazing trades that right back on the Light. Numbers going to be roughly evened out for the moment. There is no BRB on the field, but so much is out as out goes the boundary, the dance floor, and the Devil Beast as SJW gets the next pick.
I hope your GPU stays alive out here with all the colors on the screen. SJW with Rymazing getting these resets. The iframe, Fidel's the next victim. Crimzo comes in, a nice ante together with the Beast of the Abyss. And now you have the match for Impunity. But they had lost on Fidel a lot earlier on, and Nightmare are up in numbers. Galactic Legend from Usher as he's really stepped it up this round about. But Mace has chomped him back to the spawn room gates, and Nightmare are coming alive right at 99% in favor for Sentinels.
Yeah, really clean play there from Nightmare. Obviously, up in the sky, it's difficult to hold on when your team goes down in the face of the dinosaur. SJW able to find Crimzo to clean that up, and 99% here, folks, for Sentinels. The idea now is to get ults together, do not overcommit in any of these fights, and then press Q virtually in one fight as a unit, end this game. That is the thought process. The question is, can they do it? As Nightmare wants to hold on and push this to map 3.
Look at what they have to work with too, Shib. Unity still constantly harassing Oasis, backing away just now. The nice stun onto Dogman before Light tries to get away, forcing out more of these cooldowns, but it's a 1v1. He was hugging the health pack. He has the advantage, but it's a reset in the neutral before Light tries to find the next victim.
And the space has been taken back here from Sentinels. Nightmare dropping back beautifully into that frame as we see Light trying to find something, just trading back and forth, very low in HP. Rymazing making some aggro plays. Crimzo doing the same. The portal through wall to get to that back line is disgusting. Crimzo instead going to dive towards the left side, not allow them to patty cake around that corner, but they're doing a great job in positioning on the back line there. Nightmare looking clean with Pain and Fidel. Out goes the commitment now from Mace, but again, Sen doesn't matter. They don't care too much as they just want to press Q at the same time, force out as much as possible. SJW able to find Crimzo. That's going to put them up a number once more. The Kamiho unleashed from Nightmare is a lot of commitment, but wow, Dongmin presses Q. Flame's able to find one. Is this going to be the time they turn it? Are they pressing Q now? Flame still holding on to the dance floor. Looks like that might have been a little bit premature.
With him holding onto it though and looking at what light, he's gonna let the devil out, and Fidel's gonna match that with the invisible boundary. But Sentinels have everything here with Amazing nearing having that Black Hat ultimate too. Yusher with a Galactic Legend, then that's gonna be all green lights for Yusher to go crazy because there is no counter strat ultimate to hold them back. Nightmare now with them finding a way to the Yusher show, finding the entire backline, because guess what? No one is there to stop him.
Yusher's on a quadra right now. Will we see a penta here, folks? The commitment comes out to let the devil out. Can they battle this back? 80 HP and a dream here from Yusher. Can he get the cleanup on Light, who's found Dongmin? Mace goes down, numbers goes down as the portal gets committed, and Yusher takes out Light. In overtime, it has been switched. We're in a 99-99 situation. Can Sen keep this held? It looks like they cannot as the touch comes in. Will this be another fight, or does it end here shortly?
It's desperate attempts though here, Shib, with Light making the desperate swap over to the Spider-Man. SJW finds Dogman. It's a trade off on both ends. No strat ultimate from either side to keep these fights going, but Yusher has been on a tear to open up this series, has been popping off format after format here. Flamay finds Impunity next. No Piece of the Abyss online. Light is swinging around on his own webs here, and even Mace, who had swapped over to the Hulk. It's the stall potential, and Crimzo, who was one shot, pops the armor, finds SJW, and Yusher, together with the rest of Sentinels, clear the point.
Yeah, that was a huge clutch moment there from Yusher, and honestly, some really strong team play, folks. You notice the portal came through from Flame in that moment. Amazing switching over to Strat, and they just continue playing like it's nothing. Flame's able to find some finals. Rai keeps the healing up. Just some really solid team play across the board as Sentinels take the first map.
That was huge here too, Shib, because then you look at the adjustments made into round number 2 and the way that Amazing rolled out on that Black Hat. A lot of changes coming together for this series, Shib.
Yeah, that was so much fun to watch, and that was exactly what they're looking to do, right? We talked about trying to force out as many ults as possible, and I will say, Nightmare did a great job not overcommitting. I think they used a couple, maybe a little bit too early, but they still had 3 before that final ult fight. Just was not quite enough, as Light almost made it work.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Don't go anywhere, guys. We got map number 2 Among Us. Don't go anywhere. On the other side of this break, we'll be right back.
Scoop it up as fast as you can. Now, speaking of which, again, we promised you a loud and a hype desk, and we got all of that to open up that domination as we did get Sentinels to get that win. And I think we saw a little bit more of the same, I would say, with the flow, Shib and Vicky, how Nightmare plays. They could get the point. It just seems like getting that second, maybe fourth fight going through that entire map is where they start to falter. And for me, it goes to that pick ban phase because they went all in on the Phoenix ban. They tried to shut down Yusher. They said, okay, we're going to take that away from you, right? Shib, they picked up the call. Yusher fine on the Star-Lord there, and they all committed perfectly.
Yeah, they just essentially allowed Yusher to play his own game on Star-Lord. You know, there's no commitment with the Gambit for Ultimate, and instead commit with Dive. And that's something I've wanted from Sentinels. I think you and I have said in the green room together, let's just put Rai on some sort of dive, let Crimzo play the Cap or the Venom, and you enable with the Oasis Jeff. That is a match made in heaven. It just makes sense, and finally, we get to see it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously our MVP, we're going to go and give to Yusher, who adjusted so well and obviously had some big pop-off plays, elims at one point. 31-4, look at the stats across the board. Want to say this too, like with that Phoenix, you're then able to get the protect for the Luna and the ban over to your side on that. You had White Fox, don't have that team up. So it kind of snowballed from there as well. And yes, Shib and Vicky, we said the commitment to the dive is what we needed to see better from this team. And they did just that. With the Jeff in there having symbiotic shenanigans, I thought Oasis fit the role really well as indeed too, Vic.
Yeah, together with that, with the team up that you have with the Venom, like you mentioned already, and then the way that they were able to make those quick adjustments, something that I believe Shib had said too, with Flamme making the quick change over to the Doctor Strange, so that way they could portal in, and then you saw the swap of two from Amazing. It's kind of like those micro adjustments in those last second fights that make a huge difference here that allowed Sentinels to take that first map, Cozy.
Yeah, for sure. We take a look at the stats, Shiv, and, it's a team match, right? Everyone is to blame if you take the L. And looking across the board, obviously the survivability of the backline for Sentinels being a little bit more on the healthy side, especially on Oasis is in. But yeah, just looking at it, this team has got to adjust because it felt like Sentinels also took a little bit of a page of what was going on with the 100 Thieves. You had Amazing now in that self-roll where they have the Ultron coming out. Okay, that didn't work. Let's go Black Cat. Let's go back into that duelist. And that's what I want to see. I'm fine with Amazing playing triple sup, right? But have that quick flex in for the surprise and shock factor.
Yeah, and you see Flamme too, right? Like 12k damage, 5 finals. That's the power of the Luna, right? We said Luna is so aggressive right now. It could be very scary, and that is one of those ban protects that we saw from the side of Sentinels that was more unique, and it clearly worked out. You can see 5 finals there too, and you look over at Fidel and Payne, you're just not able to find as much value in terms of getting those finals for the team. So really, really strong change in bans there from Sentinels.
No, that's a great point. That's why Luna in kind of that middle of the draft is almost always going to be there as either that ban or most importantly that protect. And I think we're starting to see more and more, unless it's like a specialist, right? Using duelist bans is not always the case, Vic. I mean, obviously Black Cat, you'll have that. You have a fair amount of Daredevil. But when you go like something like Phoenix, which definitely warrants a ban, it is a good ban, but you do have to have a kind of a different game plan on the beginning of your draft if you're going to go that route, because someone like you, Sherp, is going to go to Star-Lord, who is doing pretty good in this meta.
And we see that throughout so many different regions, right, Cozy? It's kind of like, I feel like I'm being brought all the way back when we had to prio the ban onto Luna, and we're seeing it happen all over again as we take a look at what our second map is, and it's going to be Museum of Contemplation.
Yeah, it's the museum, and this is always, and this is where it feels like so many different teams like to take it, and kind of funny because this is a very dive-heavy map. Obviously, Light loves to play dive on that Daredevil, but this really rewards communication and, being synced together and synergy there. And right now, that was on the side of Sentinels. But again, it starts here. Ship. It's going to be this pick ban in the draft. Let's start it out. Let's see how they open. Are they going to go the Devil Dino route again? It looks like it.
Yeah, this is a brawly, snowbally type of map. You might see Emma get in the mix here, whether ban or protected as well. Really try to shut some of that down. It looks like instead it's going to be the Mantis Gambit, which has been consistent from both sides so far.
So they're going again with the Phoenix. Now, there is a bit more front to back on this map, so I understand that on the side of Usher, right? And I think there's going to be a bit more strengths there, but it did allow what we just said, Vic, and you get the Luna ban and protect.
Yep, and the fact that Sentinels get to have it on their side, that's going to actually work into their favor really nicely, too, because we know that they can run out with the White Fox as well if you want to get the team up with the Emma that's been so strong, together with the new, not only being able to have that extension on having that ice wall, but now we have the Protect onto the Phoenix for Nightmare, so that's going to be something that they're going to prioritize, but also, we are probably going to still see that Star-Lord coming out. There's a lot more of that verticality. The Captain America ban, by the way, from both sides, again.
Yeah, so this is the same pick and bans. And so it's like lessons not learned maybe here, and now just have to rely on communication and trying to coordinate it all together. Definitely going over to the side of Sentinels on that bit. And guess what, dude? Ship, you know it. This is a great Jeff map, right? So Oasis can feast quite literally, and you were talking about it. Talk as we bring in this match why Jeff is such a good pick against something like Devil.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, you really want to play Jeff kind of in their backline and healing through them into your team. So it enables dive, it enables the chaos, but Jeff also has a lot of good answers, right? So you can use your ultimate, the It's Jeff, if you will, to take out Devil as soon as he ults. Very similar to how it's a counter to Hulk, who's very vulnerable in ultimate. If you launch your ult as soon as you see it, it's almost a guarantee to eat. And there's not a lot of solution unless the team is looking at you during that chaos. So immediately you respond, you off map Dino in that moment. And although you can't throw him, get right to that edge, and it's pretty much a guaranteed situation of where you can just shut that thing down, especially at this level of play.
Well, no mistakes can be made, y'all, as it's best of 3. Nightmare's got to lock in now to try to tie the series. Gates are about to open. Vicky, Shib, let's get going.
All right, my friend, and here we go again. Game 2. First one was a banger, though. Let's see what happens here. Not a lot of changes in the pick ban. See who gets off hot as we start right now.
I love how we get to see the replication. If it doesn't work, we just go again, it seems like. And that's going to be the game plan for Nightmare. Mace rolling out on the Devil Dino. Donovan still relying on the Devil Dino himself. Usher After popping off and getting multiple 4Ks, it's going to be Impunity who's looking to get some revenge and going out with Groot here on the attack. I want to get your thoughts on this too, because you have that together with trying to block out the line of sight of Flamey and Oasis, and that could be trying to get the game plan in. But with Yusher getting another 2K, make it a 3K? Can Yusher get nerfed? And he's trying right now, specifically Light, to isolate the backline, but then Yusher's like, don't worry, the bodyguard for the rest of Sentinels is here.
Yeah, I mean, you want to run that Groot to, cut LOS, use those walls to shut off the Dino when overextending and put him in difficult spots. You got to be dicey. You don't, make sure you don't do that for your team and shut off your own Dino. It could be, dangerous in that aspect. But instead, they're kind of relying on the fact that there's not a lot of damage being run, and Flamey's going to have to play a little more of the wall break on that Luna than anything else to keep the team in a safe spot, at least Dongman in that matchup back and forth. But doesn't matter when you see Yusher get a 3-piece off rip like that. Great flank angle. And notice the Jeff, folks, like we talked about, healing through the enemy's backline into your own as the spin to win begins from Yusher. Light's able to find one. Impunity out of Flamey, though, and Nightmare's now off to a hot start, 2 up in this second fight.
Yusher forced to look at the Graveyard before their eyes, but together with Amazing, does get the teleport, doesn't have it anymore. It's going to be on cooldown before backing away, but it has the bodyguard. That is Yusher. And also splitting the attention of Impunity, who is very close to that strangling prison, but now you have to get back onto task and get this payload over to that next checkpoint. Also splitting the attention of Nightmare before they have to look behind them, and now it's a Galactic Legend from Yusher. And right now, Nightmare, aside from Fidel, who does have the invisible boundary, gets it right on time.
A good patience there, committing at the last possible moment. Almost able to turn that around on Yusher. There's that strangling prison. Does that find value? It does. Impunity able to find 2, make that 3 as SJW takes out Crimzo. And Nightmare are off to a hot start. The vengeance has begun. Can they keep this moving? It's just a matter of time. Will they be able to stall for the portal? Looks like they might actually now with a commitment from Flame on point. The dance floor keeping the team healthy. The dinosaur is still staying alive as now the portal goes through. Is it enough? Light with the tackle is able to find 1, but is that going to be enough to push them up? No, not quite yet.
I did see the slight stun right there as Oasis uses the Itch Jab as a safety measure, but now you have the Kraken impact. You have the reset potential after SJW does find Crimzo again and again. Can he find the last one? That is Yusher. He gets to the health pack. It wears down, and he is safe and sound. We keep seeing this 1v1, and it's Yusher versus the duelist that is Nightmare, but this is still a lot of attention as SJW does come out on top. They still have not been able to get this first checkpoint.
Yeah, what a retake. It's just a matter of time now as yes, looks like the first point will be capped, but still a ton of time bought there. And you don't always need to just fully sweep a team every time you come back with a portal. It's all about just buying time. That's really the goal here on defense, no matter what. So well played there by Sen, but even better from Nightmare to stay consistently on that and force them off, getting point 1 relatively quickly.
It can be difficult too on Museum of Contemplation. We see so many teams especially get held right before they can even get to that second checkpoint. Light making the swap over to the Daredevil though. Oasis already looking to reposition too with Amazing also making the swap. I like these changes going into the second checkpoint. You have a lot more flanking angles here for them to rely on. Impunity having to be careful before backing away and looking for the next target that is isolating Flamey.
Yeah, Payne is able to find one onto Oasis there.
Wow.
They're up a number again. Looks like more commitment of abilities. Amazing able to take out Payne to make that even for the current moment. The back and forth from Ryan Light once more. Who comes out on top? It's going to be Light this time, but Flame's able to take out another in that backline with the Luna consistently, time and time again. So much value there. And the Luna Snow, not only in the dance, but that neutral is obscene. SJW on Bucky Barnes, showcasing that absolutely still available in this meta, especially when dive is being committed from the opposition. More dive now from Light off the back of Impunity Space. Will that be another pick? But either way, it's a ton of free movement here on this card.
The whole economy, though, for Nightmare is on fire, but the invisible boundary as the Galactic Legend comes out from Yusher, which looks like it was actually stunned. So it goes back to 50%, and it's SJW who grappled him and pulled him in right at the very start of the Galactic Legend. Now you have the Feast of the Abyss, you have the Kraken impact, as SJW is waking up together with Payne, who has the Kumio Unleashed. Together you match that as well with Mace, who goes on a rampage, and the Itch Jeff to try to counter that. Delay the inevitable, you let the devil out if you are Light, but the stun as Yusher comes back. Oasis having a buffet before backing away, but it's the piercing healing that you were mentioning before, Shib, that allows Oasis to get more value off of this Jeff until Impunity dives onto top of his head.
That was a little bit of a miscommunication there, I think, from Sen. Oasis with a big eat, but instead of kind of forcing them away from point, just kind of sat them there, threw them back towards the team, and they just completely turned that fight around. I don't know. I mean, I did like that eat. I'm just not sure it was capitalized well from the team, whether it's a communication issue or what. Not sure exactly what happened there, but Punch comes through. The peel's still there. The portal's now committed. Everybody back on point, and Yusher trying to do what Yusher does. Out goes that Galactic Legend. Will we see some value? And not quite yet. Great commitment from the team to dive back to that corner to stay healthy. Disgusting communication there from Nightmare as they retake once more. Down an ultimate from the side of Sentinels. Crimzo available with the feast. It goes in now onto the back line, able to clean up one as Flamay comes back on the Strange. And what do you know? Gets another final on SJW there.
Well, like a can of sardines stuck in the corner. I mean, what else can you do when you don't have a strategist ultimate to try to counteract that Galactic Legend? Here comes Crimzo diving down the charm, dealing a good chunk of that damage. He does get hit with the bleed too, and is going to be able to stall and get healed up, thankfully, because they have Oasis on that Jeff. He's stuck on that pillar. Nightmare do have these 3 ultimates to combat this, together with Amazing, who also made that swap up over to the white box.
I really do think, although sometimes we go after Sen for saying that they're really role swapping a ton. I think it's an advantage when you do use those strange portals if your team's so strong on these different roles. Impunity committing heavy with a huge feast, able to find backline, doesn't get the pick though. Dongmin playing soft, safe, drives backwards now towards Oasis. Bagamoto goes out, the combination goes through, but Flame's able to find one onto Mason instead. That Kraken impact does not. SJW still gets a pick on Crimzo. Yusher trades that back to Light, and Sentinels are up a number still. As Yusher is able to get a 2-piece, make that 3, folks. Looks back towards the point, and it gets held. But 4.2 Sentinels. What a defense.
No, the invisible boundary that had been used up right before the Galactic Legend knew that they could just hit the green light on that ultimate chip. No defensive ults to deal with Yusher, who once again stepping up with the rest of Sentinels. Also have to give a shout out to Amazing making the swap off of Black Cat, especially when you're dealing with a Daredevil on the other side that is Light, was getting constantly marked down by Yusher together. Look at this, 10 final hits, going down only 3 times. You look on the other side, like Mace is staying alive, but it's difficult here to have more extension of if your duelists are not getting enabled.
Yeah, this is crazy. I'm loving this so far. I think both teams had moments of greatness. Obviously, Yusher very much stepping up as that really consistent soul duelist, as we can see some ideas of what's being floated here for the next round. I don't think this is going to be the case necessarily. Likely, we're just going to see Rocket out there to give the team packs and readied up from both sides, but it looks like instead Payne's going to stay on that Rocket, get the BRB available. Light's going to be on the Black Cat, diving with impunity, and May's going to essentially play his own game on the defense with a Dino, and we'll see what Sentinels elects to do. Excuse me.
Cat's got your tongue out here, Shiv. Looking like listen. Let me tell you something. Black Cat's addition to the game has been a nightmare if you're a strategist, but it's also just been so exciting to see at top level play. And the way that we're seeing Black Cat also get countered when you have Daredevil also marking down that Black Cat, it can be difficult. But then you get Yusher on that Star-Lord. No gambit necessarily when you got the triple strategist here with them swapping sides and Sentinels still approaching the same similar composition on the attack.
And let the games begin here, folks. Light gonna dive in. There's that commitment on the back line, now heading towards the team. Just some of those cooldowns to stay up at the moment. Fidel just dancing. And some pretty decent positioning here, keeping the team healthy, but the space is being created for sure. Sentinels are still walking right now. Spin to win above. The Blaster Barrage Mace goes down to nothing. Goodbye. Amazing able to find one here. Yusher tries to clean that up, and that triple comp is being run here by Sentinels, and they do tend to really love it. Found success without it, but always going back home can feel good if you want to keep your confidence up.
Feels nice when you get to roll out with that momentum too, going into this next round as well. Yusher is just going to be able to rack up more of that damage, building into that Galactic Legend. Then you look on the other side as Light gets the follow-up together with Impunity. It takes the 2v1 to shut down Yusher.
Here's the dive down from Crimzo onto that back line. Everybody in a dangerous spot here. That's going to be one. Good follow-up there. Melee weaving between each of those attacks. Make sure you're doing that. Payne got a res SJW with that BRB. Crimzo still applying that pressure. Almost has the feast. Waiting a second here. Potentially just going to try to kite that cooldown, folks. Kiting is essentially looking away, walking away, turning back and dealing some damage, and proceeding to move away while you turn back. Very similar to how a kite goes away from you, comes back, goes farther away, comes back. Very strong play from Sentinels to not commit anything into that Sia. There's SJW committing, and Impunity doing the same, forcing out a lot of ultimates here without pushing anything of their own. This is very much in Sentinels' favor here on this attack, as this next fight statistically should be theirs.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the trickling in of ultimates, but at least the Feast of the Abyss, you have the anti and you get the follow-ups, and Sentinels, as you already mentioned, Chip, do have the advantage just in terms of ultimates, because then you mismatch the Sia together with SJW, who wanted to combo that together with the Ensong Inferno, and you try to go on a rampage, get shut down, Yusha with the Beyblade spin to win, and you activate the Black Cat ultimate to match that, as it's going to force Flamme to have the dance-off. Now you have the It's Jeff, Yusha looking up, Impunity gets swapped out from the wall, and SJW does get the change up here. As two members do go out for Nightmare, it's going to stagger them just a bit and try to hold them back on the next choke.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the trickling there of ultimates just was not the play. I think they committed the Sia, the team kited away successfully, and then you threw two more while they were gone. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think the idea was we need to find something. We should have committed harder, but that comm came in maybe a little bit too late. Yeah, and then right off the back of that, Sentinels comes in, presses Q a few times, walks right through, and down 4 ultimates now. Yusha still has a big one available here, as here goes that Galactic Legend now, looking towards the backline, looking at SJW, does not get that pick now towards Pain, drives him in a weird spot. The space is being created this whole time. Now, oh, what a shot there by SJW, is biding time with some great patience as Flamme cleans up one. Impunity gonna trade that right back.
It was good communications, a nice freeze onto Light too, but it forced the strategists of Nightmare to kind of huddle up together in that top balcony room. You see Crimson already getting into position before getting the dive down, and Impunity doing the same thing in the Venom playbook. SJW does have the Ensong Inferno for a reset too, and if you look on the side of Sentinels, just nearing getting more of these strategist ultimates online, together with Future, who had gotten shut down with that Galactic Legend before. Now Impunity has the Feast of the Abyss, trying to chase down the Shark, hang him on a hook as Light follows up to find Flamme.
Yeah, great follow-up there from Light, and that's that coordination, that okay, ready, 3, 2, 1 dive type stuff there. Very hard to react to that off the Feast. Immediately gets deleted now. Fighting some time here. Got to wait till they're 6 stacked up and re-engage, and now they are, folks. Ultimate's about to be all over the place here. Sentinels making a change as Ryan Mazing's now on the Ultron. You can see Impunity on height here. SJW and Fidel have answers. Crimzo ready for that Feast now, likely trying to pull one of those out. Get that moving. Bang, onto the backline. Will it work? Great escape. Instead, doesn't need to commit anything. Flamme goes down once more from Light with a nice trade, and buying a ton of time here with 2 minutes and 20 on.
It's a strat nightmare here when you see the two Venoms prowling about on the same wall, clinging on for dear life before diving in for their next victims. And you take a look at the ult economy too, Gearshin. Right, amazing. Making the swap over to the Ultron. I do like this. You want to get a little bit more damage on the board. Swap that together with the White Fox as Oasis gets off the Jeff. And now you have the Kumio Unleash activated first from Nightmare. Right, Mazy can match that here. He's got the Extermination just to start off their opening together with Crimzo as Yusha finds Pain again.
The point has been recapped here from Sentinels. Alt advantage going to be in their favor, as they'll have 5, almost 6 available for this next fight. And there's that Rage of Ultron from Rive. Brings out immediately one ultimate goodbye.
Nice.
He's not going to be able to get too much value. Oh my goodness! The chop, the pull out there was massive from Dongmin. Pulling out of that invisible boundary as Rai cleans that up. Disgusting play now as Sentinels are keeping this walking. Dongmin on top of the Dinos, able to find another pick here, cleaning that up shortly. As wow, what a stall. Tries to hold on with the answer. Mace does fall eventually, and that could be it here. The portal needs to be committed. The portal's out now. Dongmin trying to stuff that a bit with the buddy shield. Way to jump into that to eat that Phoenix all in the sky. Dongmin finds another on a Fidel, and oh my goodness, the swap comes through. Out goes those greens to stall more time. The dance floor is there, but it's gone now. Crimzo with the Feast of the Abyss. Will that be another answer now? The Kumiho Unleash goes out from Sentinels. Crimzo trying to find backline. Nightmare committing everything they can here as Light starts up now with Black Cat, and nobody is going down just yet.
Not yet, and Crimson's harassing the strategist. They're playing Ring Around the Rosie behind the Abyss shield, but eventually, with an anti and a Feast of the Abyss, there's only so much a health pack can do. Crimzo doing his job, forcing them back and allowing the rest of Sentinels to walk the dog on the payload and get to that checkpoint.
Wow, that was awesome to watch. What a final fight there, down to the wire. A ton of commitment and ultimates there at the end, as it should be. The stall came in from the portal, just was not quite enough. Great job by Crimzo, as you called out there masterfully. Vicky forcing the strats into that back angle.
I just can't. I'm just thinking about the fact that the way that Crypto had them contested over the left side. Cozy, I know you had front row seats to watch all the action play out, but there's so many layers to the onion, Cozy, because even at the very end, let's say the invisible boundary wasn't forced out because of the extermination, guys, because of the Ultron. Now, there was no defensive strategist ultimates to deal with the Galactic Legend. You would have had to rely on kiting away, but even then, they still had the Galactic Legend to harass them when they were forced to open up the portal.
Yeah, for me, it was just communication front to back. Like, you could just tell, I mean, just in that one play of Dogman grabbing the Invis, throwing her out, getting that extermination in there. It's like, those are the things that we were missing on day one. Obviously, with the Gambit ban, like, let's be clear about that. But going into it, just the team play was that much tighter across the board. I thought, I got to give flowers to Dongmin, too. Like, that, the flexibility on this guy is pretty crazy. Like, going back to last year, he's like more of a mag player, right? We saw plenty of that. Now going into even Strat a little bit there for a quick pepper and ship. That's what's impressed me about the team.
Yeah, they really do a good job kind of just rotating positions. I think that, we talk about sometimes them kind of maybe forcing something we don't always agree with, or, a lot of the time it's kind of just confirmation bias, where if it doesn't work for them, you like to think, oh, I called that wasn't going to work, which is kind of just like the classic viewer experience. But they really do have a ton of flexibility, and it helps a lot with those portal plays for sure.
Yeah, and it felt like Nightmare was able to get some of those backline picks a good amount. Like, Light was getting some of that value in the back, but it just ended up where they would be able to flip the script that much faster. And it's a lot to do with the Star-Lord and getting the job done there, playing very well into the comp in general. And that's, what you want to see. I think even on a map type, I probably would have liked something more like Midtown for this team of Nightmare in general. But either way, was good to see Sentinels kind of lock back in. I would say this, it's kind of weird for Sentinels because you had Swamp Gaming that's towards the top of the nation here in terms of talent. Nightmare, if we're going to keep it a buck here, not as much up there. So it's like, where do they land and how can they keep this consistency going? I think that's what them and their fan base wants to see, Vic.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a big part of that, too, is highlighting that, you don't have to just rely on the triple strategist if you're looking at Sentinels, right? They obviously were able to take out a lot out of their book and kind of really play out of left field, which is something that Shib was talking about before, where you could try to play mystery heroes, but when you're able to make those quick adjustments and now you're wasting time and forcing the opposition to try to play counter picks, it takes more time away from you. And if you are able to get ahead of the curve and you start things off on defense and you fully hold them back, it puts even more pressure on this team to try to adjust faster.
No, that's a good point for sure. And I think a lot of what we kind of echoed even on the first map, we were talking shit like, hey, want to see these, a lot of the Luna team up there with White Fox came into play a bit more here, right? You're able to have that quick swap with Rhymaze and Giflame, a little bit more of that firepower, if you will. That charm is disgusting as a team up. And it just forced everything to kind of go together a bit more smooth, as well as having that anti-dive adjustment that is Ultron.
You can see here some of these stats too. I mean, 15 finals again from Usher. It seems like this team is just running let's just enable Usher, run our triple backline should we need to, be more flexible with Rymazing. And you know what? It's absolutely working, at least in this matchup right here against Nightmare. And then you look over in the opposition, Light with 7, 10 from SJW. Saw some really clean play there on that Phoenix. I think Phoenix is really strong in the meta, but just not maybe as much in the carry position, especially in the solo carry position, as something like Star-Lord, who has a lot more flexibility with that Blaster Barrage, with a very consistent ultimate, and now with the magazine that can one-tap virtually anybody in the backline.
Yeah, well, we've got ourselves our interview ready to go, and it is going to be the back line that you just mentioned in Plumay. So welcome in, Plumay. Congratulations, my friend, as we take a look at Sentinels. Y'all played Swamp Gaming going in towards the top of one of the better teams here in America, down to now Nightmare. And want to know for you guys, I mean, is it the Gambit ban? Was that the big adjustment? Was just coordination back on lock? Talk me through the last couple of days as you guys for a team.
Yeah, Swamp Gaming, that happened, but I think overall we did a bot review, a couple hour bot review, and we talked about it, and we really lost to ourselves. I believe that we all believe we could have done better, and we probably could have made it closer. And overall, I think we learned from our mistakes, and we're gonna, go up from here.
Oh yeah,
beautiful. Good to see you, buddy. Shout out to you switching to Strange and getting finals there back to back. I got to say, your team's doing a great job in making those portals work out. I'm curious, statistically, you guys might be the most successful when those come into play. But I got to ask quickly for you. You guys clearly love the triple backline. I think it works well for Dino. Can you give us a breakdown for those who are watching when you think that triple backline works most for your team or just for teams in general? Or is that too much information?
Honestly, well, I mean, yeah, I mean that's kind of a lot of information, but I think it like depends obviously on if you're against dive or if you're against like frontline or like brawl, significantly. Like if we're running Jeff, like if brawl's in a factor, we just go backline Jeff. It just really depends on what the enemy team is running. But 2-2-2 works, 2-1-3 works, anything works, just depending on the team.
Beautiful.
I like your input on that, and especially coming in from like the main strategist here and keeping everybody up here, Flamme. Congratulations once again. But can you talk to us a little bit about how the comms flow for the rest of Sentinels when you guys make that decision to either have Rymazing get back onto triple support, or whether you feel like maybe if he's going to roll out with something different, like as we've seen now with the Black Cat, if it doesn't work, how are the vibes here for this team? How do you guys come to that decision?
Well, if Rye complains too much, we're like swap. But no. It's like if Rye really doesn't feel the character, it's like sometimes sometimes it just doesn't work out. We just say swap. If something's not working, we have like a small 10-second conversation about oh, this isn't working, let's swap, and we just swap. So everyone has like their own input on what we want to run, but everyone is pretty flexible in the team, so we just swap to what we can and what we know could be better.
Well, listen, I'll end on this because I got to ask, I know in my own comp games, it can be so tough having such a powerful team up and then that person swaps and you lose it. So as a Luna player, it's like Rymazing goes to White Fox, you're like, hell yeah, I've got the charm, and then it's gone. Like, are there times where you're like, oh, damn, I lost the charm, damn. Like, is it like, does that happen often with a team that is this flexible?
Yeah, that happened to me once, I think, this match. I think it was second point of Museum. I lost it and I was so confused. I was like, where's my team up? But yeah, I hate when that happens. But I always just swap to White Fox later, so I forgot I had it.
Well, hey, listen, you guys put on a show today. It was fun to see you guys get back into form a bit. And we're excited to see you against the rest of the group, right? You've played Swamp and now down in Nightmare. Want to see what everything in the middle of the pack looks like. So good luck, prep up. We're excited to see you guys as we head into next week.
All right, thank you so much. Have a great one.
Thank you. That is Flamme, that back line, and fun to hear. I love to kind of highlight some more of these strategist players, and cool to see Sentinels kind of get their vibe back, right? We saw that yesterday, y'all, with 100 Thieves, and gave us a lot to kind of chew on as they've got a whole week now to prep for